Ronnie Dahl, four-wheeling and westernaustralia.com. Welcome to the hills down south. Now, I can't really say where it is because we got some information from some locals and some tracks down here. Some we already know about, some we got a rough idea where they are, and we've got to try and find them. So most adventures are about the destination. You go to a really beautiful campsite or something like that, or a really awesome place. But sometimes it's about how you get there. And this trip here is all about how we are going to get there. We're out here, we've got 3 rigs kind of set up for a bit of play, especially the back one. We'll talk a bit more about that one later. So this trip is all about how we get there, and where we camp is where we end up, because we may end up stuck, who knows. We've got our winches ready, we've checked everything's alright, we've aired down and we're ready to go. Hubs are locked in. For this particular trip, our tyre pressures are ranging around low 20 to mid 20 psi. Off we go. The area that we are in, this style of driving that's about to come up, is tolerated in this area. Clubs use it for the same reason, and locals use it for the same reason. The fun of testing your vehicle and your driving skills over pretty crazy obstacles in some cases. Out of respect for the locals and the clubs, I'm not going to share the location and how to get there. Now, the driving you're about to see, please do not do this on access tracks, iconic tracks, or any tracks that aren't meant to be used for this kind of driving. The saying goes, there is a time and place for everything. Well, this is a perfect place for what we are about to do. Alright, so vehicles behind me. We've got Wayne in his single cab Land Cruiser, and he's got a few new mods on. He's got a bit more weight on it. And behind him is Luke from On Track Fabrication, the guy who made all the bar work on my vehicle. He's driving a GQ with a 4.2 petrol, and that thing is an absolute beast of a thing for this kind of stuff. We'll go through more of his mods a bit later. As we are not base camping, I'm carrying a lot of gear on the vehicle, so this is actually going to hinder me a little bit on the hills to come. Also, Wayne himself, he's carrying a bit more weight than he's used to because he now has a new steel box on the rear. Staying on the topic with weight, this is the lightest vehicle of all, 2.5 tons approximately, and probably the most capable vehicle in these kind of situations with all these mud hills and stuff. This thing goes anywhere. Alright, so here's another hill we're going down. Give you a bit of an insight what it is we look for on these hills when we pick our lines, which way to go. And for us, it's not too much of a drama. There's a couple of rocks below me here that we could probably diff out on. But other than that, it's pretty easy. We could just stick to the ruts. In the wet, you probably want to stick to the ruts and this kind of stuff, because if you try and ride the edges, which is called straddling, you may slip in sideways and things might go pear-shaped. I've done it a few times. But in this case, our tyres are deep enough, so we can actually stick to the ruts. Except for that rock right there. That one there might collect someone's diff or leaf spring or something. You can see here people have been riding the bank, which is fine. Some people might be worried about riding that bank because there's a tree right there. You will lift up on the side, so you shouldn't hit the side there. Trickle down. So pretty easy hill really. Now things are about to go a little bit pear-shaped, and I might be saying this a few times during the series. Check out my new clay rim. I've done a good job here. Comment down below if you think I need B-locks. I'll fill the whole rim up. Yeah, so we've got two options. One, take it off, replace it with the other, fix it later, or can try and clean it here and see if we can get it back on. Might try the second option first. Right, so we decided it's we were going to use the high lift to try and get it up a bit more, but I don't like using high lifts, nor do the other guys really. It's just too dangerous, especially with the car in this angle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hop in, I'm going to reverse, and hopefully the beads will stay on the rim, and reverse to about here because there's a bit of a hole or a bit of a ditch here. Then we can get the bottle jack underneath the actual diff instead, because we can't get enough elevation on it.
Keep going, little bit of right hand down, straighten her up. Yeah, I can give it a shot there.
So what I'm trying to do here is get a flat surface for the jacking plate, and I think we're better luck here. I'm ready for the plate. Oh, it is a bit heavy, isn't it? Yeah. Alright, this might be it now. Just. Alright, now we can start jacking. Not quite level. This is as good as it's going to get. Okay, so I have the front and rear locker in, the car switched off in gear because I have a Land Cruiser handbrake, which means I don't have a handbrake, and that should keep the car fairly still. I wouldn't recommend doing what I'm doing. Don't have much of a choice. Plate sinking. Okay, so we're cleaning the inside of the bead and we're now on the search for the hub and the valve. Wow. There's a hub. Okay, that's why valve caps are important. Mine's now full of mud. Oh, the whole rim's full of mud. Have you got a ratchet strap? Small one?
The leak down the valve or the side?
Side. I think we're getting somewhere now. Been stuffing around a lot. 2 jacks underneath it. Changed the valve core. Had to pull stuff out of the valve. Seems to be holding in now. Time to go. It appears we have a large tree across the track. We could drive around, there's a lot of stumps in there and stuff, but the right thing to do is to remove the tree, and we have a chainsaw, so that's what we're going to do. Unfortunately we can't use this as firewood because it's too green. And then all of a sudden a fully charged battery for his chainsaw just completely cut out. Chainsaw no longer. Plan A failed. Plan B, bit too much hard work. Now time for plan C. So what exactly am I trying to do here? Well, I'm trying to drive over the tree, possibly break it at the same time, but drag it away. The way it's laying, we can't really winch it with as much effectiveness. Job done. Dylan's going for a stroll across the water just to check the flow. Bit of a flow?
That's pretty much the worst of it.
Yeah, it's not sweeping you off your feet.
It doesn't get any deeper than that, really.
How tall are you?
Tall enough.
Can you tan your
Tall enough
legs?
to keep it dry.
It's in the middle where the real flow is.
That?
It's in the middle where the real flow is. That was my way of telling him to go further. Alright, so he's walking it for obvious reasons. We want to know how deep it is because Luke's GQ is a 4.2 petrol. I reckon Luke still put a tarp on it, eh?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Should be alright.
That's alright. How tall is he? 6 foot?
It's only up to his knees, so that's what.
Nah, that's not his knees. Look at it, it's up to his crutch almost.
Hey, 3 foot.
3 foot. Okay, so we've decided we're going to take this river on. It's not too bad. 2 diesel engines, we should be right without having to do anything. The tarp's going to come in handy again. Because Luke's got a carburetor, we want to make a bit of a water barrier for him on his engine bay. So right now he's spraying it, coating it with water displacement spray, so WD-40, something equivalent to that. And he's going to shut the bonnet, and we're going to strap this to the front so he can make a bow wave, and he should get on the other side dry. The Dizzy cap, distributor cap, has been sprayed, coated, the coil's coated, and you've coated around there, haven't you? And the spark plugs, oh yeah, all along the other side, being a inline 6. Right, so it is 35 inches deep, we've worked out. We've put Dylan's crutch next to our tyres. He's about 35
Inches long? Or?
inches high. Well, he's the same height as a 35 inch tyre. And what we've done here is we've cable tied it. So it literally cannot hit the tyres unless he turns. And even if he does, it's going to push it down. So it should be good. Precautionary. Now if he hits the water too hard, the water will go over, but that's the whole point here, is to prevent water from going in. A discussion about, see, I like to have the windows up with the aircon on because it pressurises the cab, keeps the water from coming in, or helps it. But you've just told me an interesting story.
Yeah.
Where someone did do that and actually floated away because it was pressurised.
Yeah, when you pressurise the cab, it turns into a boat essentially.
Yeah.
So it floats because it's pressurised.
So I'm officially changing my mind, depending on the depth. But this depth here, and I'm so heavy, I'll be alright. Yeah.
I'll have my windows down, regardless.
Yeah. On windows up on this one, seatbelt on. Are you seatbelt on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never not have a seatbelt on.
That way, make sure everyone else is out of the car before you do.
yeah.
Got to get down with your ship, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, let's do it, eh? Another good thing Wayne just mentioned off camera was we're letting the vehicles cool down as well, because we've been doing a bit of higher speed to get to this location now. When I say higher speed, like 70 kilometers per hour, we've got low tyre pressures to get to this location because there hasn't been any rough tracks on the way here. We've in fact let the vehicles cool down by walking the stream first, doing the tarp here, doing some checks. Now the vehicles are cooled down to a point where the diffs aren't too hot, because if a hot diff hits the water, it's more likely to suck in moisture into the diff oil or into the diff pumpkin, which you don't want. And also your bearings, all your seals, if they're red hot, they're more likely to suck in moisture.
Same with the gearbox.
Yeah, same with the gearbox, yeah. Everything on your car, always let it cool down. Showing you how dry it is in here. Came in a bit.
All that down there's right. Still coming, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, running. It's running.
Alright, so we're on the other side of the river. Well, as you already know, because we're looking at the engine bay. We're now going to a hill. A hill I've failed at twice. I've tried going down once, got terribly stuck, and had to be winched up. And the next time I tried to go up, failed again. What are we going to do now? We're going to try again.
There it is.
And here's the hill. So I hesitated and let the boys have a crack at it first. Now, looking at Wayne going up here, his back end is sliding so much. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to struggle to get up this hill because my back end is probably close to twice as heavy as Wayne's. And just to make it a little bit harder, it started to rain again. Alright, my turn. The heavier one from the bunch. Alright, we'll see how we go.
That's not a good spot.
So after sliding backwards and nearly taking out Wayne, who was standing behind me because I had no control whatsoever, I decided to call it a day. But I will be back here one day with a lot less weight on the back. I might remove all boxes for these kind of trips in future. And we still have 3 more days of even worse tracks. So we're gonna see how well we go. I can guarantee you the winch will be out. Now time to find camp, and camp is just a short drive up the road. We have camped there before on a previous adventure. This is kind of a similar area, except for we are doing a few different tracks. There's a lot of tracks out here. The whole thing out here is you just try your luck. Sometimes you find some good tracks, sometimes you don't. And we found a few today. Definitely wasn't my day today. So I'm looking forward to camp, sit back and relax. And tonight we're going to cook on a fire as well. You may want to know a bit more about Luke's rig back there as well. He has a high mount winch on it, so it's a lot faster than your regular low mount winches. We were hoping that he'd have to use it today, but that thing just walks up anything. So tomorrow might be a different story. The hills are even harder. But we'll see how I go on there, because weight is definitely an issue for me in the mud on these really steep hills. I just seem to lose traction. I don't lose power, I lose traction. See if I can. It's daylight. We're at camp. Surprise, surprise, it does happen. Yeah, because of the greenies. Alright, as usual, I like to light fires the fun way. And then if anything happens, I get stuck somewhere, I've always got this with me. I know how to start a fire. So, this is a flint rod, which I drilled into a bit of wood. Put some paracord around it. Made this little thing here. I've ordered this other one on eBay. A thicker one. This one is 1/2 inch thick, so 12mm. And this one here is about 8mm thick. Now the ones you get at in your little survival kits, they're tiny, and look, they're good if you need to survive, but if you want something that's going to last you a while, I suggest making one yourself, because you can't really get these unless you make them yourself. So anyway, we're going to use some cotton wool, really good with picking up sparks. And on top of that, I've got some chips, got oils in them, help accelerate the fire. And we've got some leaves, they have natural oils in them. And then we start with the real thin stuff and work our way to the slightly thicker stuff, and then from there we can throw on bigger and bigger and bigger stuff, and you get the idea there. So it's just a fun way of doing it. Most people will probably just put some firelighters in there and be done with it, but I like doing it this way. Yep. Oh yeah.
5 hours were pulled full. 5 hours? I'm going to somewhere.
It's very dark and it's very cold. Moisture's starting to gather around. So we have loaded up the fire pit, and what we've decided to do, initially we're going to cook on that drum there, which is overloaded now. We've decided to pull out the fire pit, so we're cooking on a snow peak fire pit. Just cooking on the coals, a bit of flame there from the fat from the venison sausages and what steaks are they? What cut?
Scotch fillet.
Scotch fillet. In the camp oven here we got some potato gems, so a bit like chips pretty much. So they're cooking here, and that's where we're getting all the heat. And Wayne and Dylan, they had their dinner about 2 hours ago. But I think they're getting hungry again, so they can help me eat my sausages. That's pretty much what's happening. And then have a couple of quiet ones and get ready for another day tomorrow in the bush.